Hello, good day, and welcome everybody. We are so happy that all of you could join us today or take a view at the video afterwards. This is Work Integrated Learning 101, and this is a workshop for prospective supervisors, or maybe you are a current supervisor but just need a refresher. We'd like to welcome you to be part of this workshop. But before we get into the agenda and some of the learning outcomes for today, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the land that on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. Thank you. Today, I am joined by my colleague Jose, and just to give everyone that's watching an introduction to who we are, let me kick things off. My name is Jason John. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm the Assistant Director for Employer Relations and Marketing here at the University of Toronto Mississauga's Campus's Career Center. I'll now pass it over to my colleague, Jose.
Thank you, Jason, and thank you all for this opportunity to share this knowledge on work integrated learning today with you all. My name is Jose. My personal pronouns are he, him, and I am a team member here at the UTM Career Center, and I support in the role of Business and Operations Coordinator.
All right, thank you very much, Jose. Appreciate that. So what Jose and I are hoping to do, and what we're offering as part of this workshop, is an opportunity for you to grasp and get a better understanding of what work integrated learning is all about. We're hoping that by the end of this session, you'll be able to understand what a good mentor and a role model looks like. You'll be able to set learning goals side by side with your work study students. And last but not least, we're hoping that you'll be able to, put into practice inclusive supervision opportunities compliant with AODA, and we'll be getting into that a little further through the progression of this workshop. Before you'll see the different topic items we have for today's presentation. And so while there are a number of things, we hope to complete this in about the next 18 to 19 minutes so that you get a good overview of all these topic items that we put together. But first thing, let's kick things off into what is work integrated learning, and I'll pass it over to Jose.
Thank you, Jason. So, a good question. What is work integrated learning? Work integrated learning bridges academic learning with real world experience. It's not just about employment, it's about structure, learning in a workplace context. Students gain skills, apply theory, and build confidence in their professional identities. How will and work study go hand in hand? Work study is a key work integrated learning opportunity. It allows students to earn income while gaining experience. These roles help students build networks, understand the labor market. These professional networks provide good references and contribute to acquire knowledge of labor market, employability, and connect with potential job opportunities. So now we think about what is a good mentor? What do you think, Jason?
All right, thank you very much, Jose. Yeah, I want to take a moment for all of us just to pause for a second. And I know you can see up on screen some examples that Jose and I've thought about, but really think about a good mentor that you've had, whether it's in your professional career or even in your personal life. What are some of the key um, things that they brought to life as a mentor for you? And when we think about that, you know, think about how you can reflect those qualities into your supervisory role with work study students. Can you be able to provide guidance and support for those students? Can you share maybe some of your professional experience and knowledge with them? Help them in their professional growth, They're probably going to share with you their pursuit of a career pathway that they think would be ideal for them. And how can you offer some support to be able to achieve that? And most importantly, I think an important part of a mentor is not only sharing the good stuff, but it's also thinking about how can we provide constructive feedback. We'll go through some examples of an exercise of how you can do that next a little bit. But most importantly, the foundation of a great mentor is having a trusting relationship between yourself and the work study student. And I'll continue to go on to think about like, okay, you understand what a mentor is, but what's a good role model? And we probably have different role models in our lives. And, usually for me, when I think about a role model, it's somebody who leads by example. And so in your supervisory capacity, when you ask the work study student to take on certain tasks, help them understand as to why that task is important, perhaps you're also actually leading in the forefront and being able to do that on a day-to-day work basis as well. I think a lot of great role models showcase professionalism. But when I think about some great role models as well, they show a lot of respect and empathy towards those engagements that you have. And hey, listen, who doesn't love a role model who inspires and motivates others to achieve their goals and get to the next phase of their work study position or even professional personal development? And so once you understand, what does a mentor look like? What does a great role model look like? You're now getting the facets of what that supervisor encompasses. And the next big part of what that supervisor does is go about setting learning goals for that work study student and helping them, define clear, achievable objectives. You might have a vision, but are you able to clearly communicate and effectively have that person also articulate what you're thinking about? Being able to establish like a timeline to achieve those goals. And hey, listen, once a student comes into that role, everybody's a little bit different. And so there's no harm in adjusting the goals that you may have already set for that role before you even met that student. And so there are times when maybe you have to lighten that objective a little bit, or maybe that student's way advanced, and maybe there are opportunities for you to have them achieve even more than you had set out to do. But with that said, those are a little bit about setting learning goals. And on top of all of that, the most important thing that we can also provide from a supervisory standpoint is practicing inclusive supervisory practices. And what does that mean? Well, like I said in the last point, every student is a little bit different. So there might be some students who need further accessibility requirements than other students. And so being able to include them in this opportunity, this work study opportunity, allows you to be able to support them wholly and fully. Providing the accommodations that are required to be able to allow the student to bring 100% of themselves day to day in the work study opportunity. By creating an environment where it's supportive and others around them also accept who they are in an inclusive environment. And last but not least, where it's a mandatory requirement for all of us here in Ontario to be able to support accessibility for Ontarians with the Disabilities Act. And so those are some things that you want to consider when you're thinking about as a supervisor, how do I make my environment inclusive so that whoever takes on this role, they feel so comfortable in being able to be themselves and achieve the work that they need to do. I'll now pass it on to Jose to walk us through some reflections for new and experienced supervisors. Over to you, Jose.
Thank you, Jason. So, work integrated learning involves a process of reflection, and we encourage that in our students. But as supervisors, we also should consider about how this experience is built and how we create a learning plan. So these questions that we're putting forth as it's to guide your reflection process. And the first question that we see is, what assumptions do I bring into my role as a mentor? Well, some prompts that we think that are important as experienced professionals, we tend to assume students already know about the workplace etiquette and norms. And this is not a good thing. Quite the contrary, we should think about through the onboarding process how we can teach them about the values, the mission and vision of the department of the University of Toronto, so they can understand what is the process for work? What is the professionalism in the workplace? Believing that students will ask for help when they need it, expecting students to learn the same way we did. These are examples of common assumptions that we tend to make as supervisors. Let's think about our second question. How do I ensure that my feedback is both constructive and inclusive? Uh, well, let's avoid assumptions about intent and instead let's focus about the behavior and the impact so we can understand the perhaps the fears of the unknown of a new space that the student is confronting. We all have been first timers in our jobs, and we often think, how are things going to be? What is it going to be? So if we create an environment that provides us access to knowledge and an understanding of how are things done, from explaining processes, laying out the policies and procedures that will help reduce this level of uncertainty for the student. Encouraging a two-way feedback to create a dialogue, being mindful of, not, of language that may be unintentionally excluded or discouraged. And a third question we think about, in what ways do I model the professional behavior I expect from students? Well, we're mentor, and our behavior will also contribute to that process of role modeling. So for us, think about arriving on time and prepared for meetings. Laying out, for example, if we're going to conduct weekly or bi-weekly checkouts with our students, providing them an opportunity to give input into that agenda and knowing what is going to be talked during that meeting will help them focus on what the meeting is about. Demonstrating respectful communication with all team members, admitting when I don't know something and showing how I try to seek for that answer. So giving ourselves an opportunity to also find the right information to continue building that good mentor-mentee relationship. And of course, maintaining a positive and solution-oriented attitude. For our question number 4, we think, how can I co-create learning goals that are meaningful to both the student and the University of Toronto? Starting with a conversation about the student's academic and career interests, knowing about where they are, where they want to go. So that gives us an understanding of even to think about recommendations for additional professional development plan. Not just the course learning is providing them with the theoretical foundation for the work, but let's think about also additional professional development skills that can be brought in, and the use of webinars, workshops that can help them build the skills. Identifying tasks that align with both the student goals and the team needs. Using SMART goals. SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time bound. And for our last question, what strategies can I use to support students with diverse learnings, needs, and backgrounds? Well, let's think about providing clear written instructions and expectations, using accessible tools and platforms, sometimes even incorporating additional technology such as screen reader friendly documents, checking in regularly to ask how the student is doing, not just about task, but also fostering that conversation around how do you see yourself right now in this role? How do you think this role is going to contribute to your career development? What do you think about these learning goals that you have set up? Should they be revised? Should we check them at some point throughout the process? Uh, are there any skills that you have acquired that were not part of the original plan? And finally, attending training on inclusive supervision or unconscious bias are very helpful ways for us to support those diverse learning needs and backgrounds. Before we wrap up, we thought about um, good reads that we want to recommend so you can expand your knowledge on work integrated learning. And these readings offer practical strategies and research based insights into mentorship and inclusive practices. All of the links that we are displaying right now in our slide, you can easily access. Um, Internet changes, so if by any chance you see any link that is broken, please do let us know. We will be happy to provide you the correct direction, but we have already tested them. And finally, the University of Toronto has put together a group of a set of tools and resources to support your journey as a work integrated learning work study supervisor. And these include from job form guides that can assist you in developing that job posting and creating the job description. We also are providing you with a job checklist that can help you go in a step-by-step manner, be able to achieve that supervision practices aligned with work integrated learning principles. And now back to you, Jason.
All right, Jose, thank you so much for winding us down with those resources and those reflection questions, which are all super helpful. Well, folks, we've come to the end of this workshop, this 101 workshop for an introduction to supervisors for the work study program from a work integrated learning standpoint. We thank you for your attention. And by the way, hey, listen, we're available to help you out. And so what we've done is we've kindly shared the emails for each of the campuses across UFT. So feel free to reach out to us, specifically here in this saga, workstudy.utn@utoronto.ca. That'll get your message across to us in case you need any further help or support. Well, Jose, thanks a lot once again. As always, love partnering with you for these kind of opportunities. On behalf of Jose and myself, Jason, we're signing off. Have a great day, everybody.